Welcome back to an all-new episode of The Voyage Within. I'm your host, Brittany Jackson, and I specialize in personal development and how to live an authentic life leading from your heart. God works in mysterious ways, and that's why I try to stay open each week to how is God going to show up in my life? How is God going to work and move through me? And what am I going to learn? That's what this voyage within is all about. What is going on with me today, this week? How are we checking in with ourselves? And like I normally say, I thought I was going into this week and I was going to cover one topic, and then it ended up turning into another. Given today, a new set of situations and inspiration arose to point me in a new direction. And to me, that is what God and spirituality is. It's willing to be flexible and it's willing to trust, to readjust the sails and head in a new direction. I've mentioned this quote in a previous episode, but I'll say it again. Life is what happens to us when we are busy making other plans. How much control do we really have? How human are we really? No matter how many times I try to figure out things or be perfect or do the right thing, I am reminded that I am human and God is God. So today I made a mistake. Okay, I'm human. I found myself in a situation that I didn't know how to deal with or handle at the time. So I showed up and I did the best I could, but it all felt uncomfortable and it felt wrong and it didn't feel right. And I still tried to push through it. And then I realized on the other end, as I was full of anxiety, my body, my emotions, that I had made the wrong choice earlier that day and I should have showed up differently. And usually the anxiety, the emotional and physical part is connected to my spirituality. And my spirit knew that my higher self should have done or would have done something different if I would have had the information I have now on the other side of it. But at that time, I didn't have that information. I did something different. And now I need to live with that circumstance and result. So let's talk about honesty. What does honesty mean to you? And what does living an honest life mean? I pride myself that I'm a very honest person, but I do make mistakes. And sometimes I'm not honest. And then I catch myself later that I had been dishonest. And the solution for that is to then be honest. So to me, honesty is about admitting mistakes, admitting faults, and doing the right thing to fix my human error. And that's where my spirituality comes in, to heal what might have been broken in me, in others, and in the world. Because how we show up matters. How hard is being honest for you? I remember a time when that was really hard for me to be honest, and it was really hard to take accountability. And it was really hard to admit that I am human. And I don't know what I'm doing all the time, and I don't have it all figured out. And I'm not perfect. I am faulted. When we are not being honest, we are justifying and we are rationalizing. We can really twist anything we want into the perspective we choose. So what is reality then, really, if we just make everything how we want or need it to be? What is reality and what is being honest? I mean, for me, being honest is I really don't know everything. I don't know. I'm just here trying to figure it out with the rest of all of you. And that's what makes us human. And that's what makes us connected. So when I first entered the program that I'm in, that I practice recovery, I had to first start by being honest with where I was at. I was not good, and my life was in shambles, and it felt really unmanageable. That was the first step of honesty. And then getting honest was, well, how? What are all the ways that's going on in you and within your life that is making it messy and hard to carry. And then I had to get honest about what is my part in all that? Where are my choices? What do I need to change or do to recreate something better, something more healthy, something that will make me happy and healthy, full, and make life manageable? And then I had to get honest about what person I had been throughout my life up to that point and what served me and what didn't. And honestly, a lot didn't serve me because I didn't even know all of those things about me existed or were happening. So then I had to get intentional. Well, if these things didn't work, who do I want to be? Who would I be proud to be? What would my life look like to be a person that I enjoy being? And what do I need to do to get there? So I try to be self-aware. I try to check in with myself. I try to do the next right thing. I try to be honest. I try to bring other people in and connect. And that's all we can really do is try. Try to show up the best that we can, accept when it's not perfect, and then figure out what we can do with the situation we're in if we might have caused harm or did something wrong or could have showed up better, apologizing, making amends, saying sorry. And these things make us human. How many times has someone hurt you and all you wanted them to do was take accountability and say sorry? It wasn't even beating them up for the fact that they had did it as much as it was that they weren't owning up to it and they weren't doing the right thing because of it. Because I think we can all relate to the fact that we're human and we make mistakes. We have all made mistakes. So then it's showing grace on ourselves, not beating ourselves up, not judging ourselves, not being critical, taking accountability and making it right, but not making us suffer because we did something that we wish that we would do different if we could have done it again. So what is a mistake? Because my program teaches me that nothing in God's world happens by mistake. We no longer regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it, and that all of our pains become our purposes. All of our lessons teach us things that then we can pass on and teach others by sharing our experiences. So what is a mistake if we're not supposed to regret anything? To me, a mistake is when I would do something different if I could do it again, where you're on the other side of that decision, that impulse, that reaction, and you're like, dang, why did I do that? I'd like to do that again. I wish I could do it again. And we can't reverse time and we can't go through the same thing new, but that's where we can take accountability and apologize, right? Make an amends. How can I make this right? And that can feel like a lot of hard work and that can feel really uncomfortable. But can we live with ourselves more with the shame and the guilt? Or can we live with ourselves more if we take accountability and we make it right? Maybe it's all not as much how other people do or don't show up with us or do or don't respond, but how we feel, carry, and handle ourselves. Where is our character and our integrity? And in our humanness, that's where we connect. So if we know different things on the other side of that quote unquote mistake, maybe that mistake was supposed to teach us, shape us, where we can learn and become better versions of ourselves. So was that mistake really so awful? With this mistake I made today, I was venting to a friend and I'm like, why did God test me? Like, I think it's kind of evil. Like, why would he put something in my path, like knowing I would mess up and allowed me to do it anyways? And I really love what she said. And so she told me that God had this situation arise and for me to be tested and go through it because he wanted to show me where I was putting my importance. I was making this thing so important that I was willing to compromise my character and integrity to have it. Well, that's not very spiritual now, is it? That's not very God-led. So where was my intention? What was my motive? I honestly didn't have one. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't being intentional. So I made a mistake. Isn't that usually when those things tend to happen, mistakes? When we're not being very present or intentional or thinking things through or deciphering our decisions and outcome. Usually they happen when we just go with something or we're on a whim. So if God tests us to get our attention and show us the truth of what we've really been focusing on or prioritizing that maybe we shouldn't, and therefore we have new information, so we learn and grow, and we can build new, we can make right, we can do something different to get a new result. God shapes us through our pain and our mistakes. Isn't that how God reaches us? Isn't that how God molds us and shapes us into new and better versions of ourselves? And maybe that's what my friend meant a long time ago about that my pain would become my purpose. Because when I share my pain and I share what I experienced and how I feel and think because of it, then it serves a greater purpose. Seeds start to plant and sprout all around me in all different ways, and the universe shifts back in the way for the better. When we show up better and we do better, the world, our connections, our influences become better. So be the change you wish to see in the world. So talking about honesty and where that started for me, I realized that a lot of reasons why I couldn't be honest in the past was because there was so much justification and denial and delusion. And let's talk about character. Let's get real. When I was younger, before I started looking at myself and trying to become a better human being and show up better in the world, I remember I'd be at an establishment and something would drop on the floor, let's say the gym, and I'd be like, not my responsibility, right? So whose responsibility is it? The person that you put that off to? And I remember catching myself when I'd said that at the gym. And I was like, that's messed up. You should just pick it up and throw it away. You dropped it. Integrity, character shift. Like, what's going on here? It's like that selfishness or that shut down part then becomes awakened and becomes caring and intentional. So I gave that person one less thing to do that day because I took care of it, cleaned up my side of the street. And I remember that made me feel better about myself. Like, wow, I was a better human being today. And then how that pays off for everyone. I also remember, this huge mistake I made. I felt so horrible, right? And so this is me learning how to be honest, how to live a spiritual life full of integrity and honesty. So I was working an event and my manager asked me to get his phone and do something with it. So I went and grabbed it and then I dropped it. And I thought, oh my God, holy crap, I was panicking. I was fearful. I was full of anxiety. I didn't know this manager very well, maybe a few days. I was new to this job. And so I lie and I make up a story and I go up to him and I say, oh my gosh, I went to get your phone and I saw it was broken. I don't know what happened. And he's like, oh man, that sucks. Well, thanks for pointing it out to me, bring it over. Right away felt like crap, right? Like, why did I do that? Fearful of taking accountability and doing the right thing. Because there's consequences, but there's also rewards because then I don't have to carry that guilt and shame. So I feel myself feeling uncomfortable, anxiety, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and I'm starting to walk away from work and I'm like, I can't do this. I was with a friend at the time and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't walk away. I can't leave to work like this. Like, this is a big weight that I'm carrying and I need to turn around and do the right thing. I need to get honest. And so even worse, then it's embarrassing, right? To say, hey, I straight up lied to you. I mean, talk about humility, right? But that is how we build character. So I went up to him and I said, hey, can I talk to you for a sec? And he said, yeah, sure. What's going on? And I said, I just want to say that I'm really sorry and I lied to you and I don't know why I did that. I'm the one that dropped your phone and it broke and I'm really sorry that I did that. And his reaction was, wow, right? Like impressed, like, holy crap, thank you for coming up to me, taking accountability, being honest. I appreciate it. He's like, I am going to ask you to pay for it and cover the cost of the damage, which is understandable. I did that. And so at first I was willing to not take accountability and do the right thing because, I didn't want to pay for my mistake. But it's like, no, it was my mistake. And that never would have been done if I went and did that. So did I want to pay it? No. Did I pay it? Yes. Was it hundreds of dollars? Yes. And of course I'm like, dang, this is what I get for being honest. No, that's what you get for making a mistake And you're doing the right thing by paying on this and owning up. And on the other side of this, God will reward you. The universe will reward you for doing the right thing, and you will be replenished financially, this amount, and then some. And that was also building trust and faith that when we do the next right thing, everything will work out and are better. Even if there's consequences at the time in the midst of that shift, at the end of the day, I could live with me. I could be proud of me and I could feel good about me. And then therefore, I'm better able to show up better for other people because I have a clean slate. I'm good with me today. Therefore, I can be good with you too. And so, geez, these examples were 5-6 years ago when I first started learning how to be honest, how to not justify, deny, gaslight, blame, turn my cheek and look away from a situation and instead step up and do what's right. In my program, they teach us how to take accountability and how to make amends. And I also had to do that with some people that I was a part of bullying, or I had witnessed other people bullying in elementary. Was I bullied too? Of course, but that doesn't make it okay that I was a part of other people's bullying and pain. And honestly, they're interconnected because I was okay with being one of the bullies because I didn't want to be the one being bullied. So I chose the thing that was the wrong thing because it seemed easier at the time, but the consequences are larger and they're heavier than if I would have just stood up for those people being bullied and I allowed myself to be bullied too. Then I could at least live with myself that day. And yes, okay, Grace, right? I was a child. I'm not going to shame and blame myself as a child, but as an adult, I did reach out to those individuals and I said, hey, I was a part of this wrongdoing that was done to you, and I'm really sorry. I should have done better, and I should have done the right thing. I can't go in the past and relive that. I can't go in the past and show up differently or do something different like I wish I would or could today. But there will be scenarios that come up in life, right, where I can show up different. But I can most importantly show up different with myself. And our relationship with ourselves is where it all begins. What decisions have you made that you've had to learn how to deal with? Or maybe a decision or a mistake that you've made recently that you need to make right, take accountability, or make amends. And that stuff's hard stuff, but it's worth it. We become better. And that mistake I'd mentioned that I did today, I'm so grateful that I have people that I can turn to and talk to about this situation, run it by them. And she's spiritual. She is also working on herself and coming from a good place, the right place. So therefore, she can point me in the right direction or give me guidance or support on how to make a wrong right. And it is so important to have other people that can help us point these things out and then do the right thing. And she also gave me this advice that made sense. I was prioritizing something more than I was prioritizing my relationship with myself and my higher power. And I am always in the wrong when I do that. I should never compromise myself or my character. So I'm willing to do what's right. I'm willing to turn it over to God, let it play out how it's supposed to. And if I need to contact anybody or apologize, be willing to do that because in doing the next right thing, that sets me free. And we are worthy and deserve to be free. I hope just coming on here and giving these examples of me making mistakes and being human and imperfect shows you that I am willing to give myself grace. I am willing to say that I am part of the collective and I am not the only one that is doing these things. And I can share my experiences and hope that it helps somebody else, helps them do the right thing, helps them show up better, helps them be intentional and reflect on themselves about why am I doing what I'm doing? What is my intentions and motives? And am I being self-aware? Am I checking in with myself on what I really think is the right thing to do here? And that is hard to do all day, every day with ourselves. Clearly, I didn't do it recently too, but it's just that reminder of the importance that it is so I can show up intentional and better in my life. I'm not going to beat myself up for it, but I am going to do the right thing. on the other side of it? What level of honesty are you willing to reach to experience freedom? How honest are you willing to get? What is the depths of that? Usually we have to tap into our imperfections and our mistakes, which then brings humility, like, oh, I'm a human too. And I'm so grateful that I went to this support group today. And that's a lot of what the topic was about, how our emotional, physical, and spiritual experiences are all interconnected, and how people have made decisions in their lives. They have made what we would consider mistakes. And the only way that they could experience healing and freedom is by getting it out and being honest. Secrets keep us sick. And then in hearing the humanness of everyone else, that I am not the only one that makes mistakes and has to take accountability and apologize and make this right, other people do too. And by one person sharing their mistake and situation, it then helps another person on their mistake or situation. And we free ourselves and we free each other by stepping into our truth and our humanness, because it really is such a beautiful gift. I wasn't made to be perfect. I was made to make progress, to make mistakes, and then to learn and grow from them. We get honest. We accept that we're doing the best we can. And when we know differently, we do differently. And then we do the next right thing. We pray for forgiveness of ourselves, and we pray for forgiveness of other people. We can't love others if we don't love ourselves. We can't give grace to others if we can't give grace to ourselves. We can't forgive others if we can't forgive ourselves. How is your relationship with yourself today? Who do you have that you can reach out to, or you can talk to, or you can get honest with? Somebody that won't judge you, somebody that will help you clean up any messes that you may make in your day-to-day life. We all deserve that kind of support, and we all deserve that kind of friendship. I want to take this moment to pray for you. If you can invite in your God, your higher power, whatever you believe in that gives you hope. Maybe the stars, the planets, the trees, nature, the ocean, forces in this world that are incomprehensible. What helps you believe? What makes you feel that you are taken care of? God, I pray over this individual and their humanness. I pray that they give themselves grace and love and respect, that they are a good human being that means well, and that we go into the world doing what we can with what we have, and that you give us the blessing that we can learn and do different, that we can show up better. Thank you for giving us these opportunities and believing in us. I pray that we give ourselves the understanding, the love, and the compassion that we need as we move through life in the best way that we can. We deserve love, we deserve grace, and we deserve forgiveness. Help the listener know that they are not their mistake. They are not their poor decision, their setback, that you understand their limited perspective and their limited capabilities being human, and that is what is expected of them, and that's what makes them beautiful and relatable. I pray that they don't feel the need to be perfect. I pray that they are able to be humble and take accountability and do the next right thing in their life to get good results. Thank you for leading us, guiding us, always supporting us, and always bringing us back to ourselves and showing us who we are. Thank you, God. Amen. I would now like to take this moment to end with some affirmations. Let's affirm to ourselves who we are. We deserve it. Feel free to say this out loud or repeat them to yourself. I am doing the best I can. My best is good enough. I deserve support, understanding, and compassion from myself. The world can be hard. The last thing I need to do is be hard to myself. I give myself love, grace, and mercy. I am enough. Thank you so much for joining me on this all-new episode of The Voyage Within. This is a place where we can go in and check in with ourselves and get honest week after week. As I show up in my truth, I hope you can better show up in your truth too, and take this beauty with you out into the world, because your existence matters and you make a difference. I'm so happy that you are here on this earth, in this life, and here on this platform with me. If you need support, if you need understanding, if you need compassion or grace, or you have any questions, please reach out to me anytime. I want your interaction. I want your input. You matter. So you can anonymously message me on the fan mail option on my Buzzsprout account, or if you follow me on social media, feel free to follow me there and reach out, message me and ask any questions. My Instagram is at @B_RIZZLE_J. And I look forward to covering a whole new topic with you next week on The Voyage Within. Until then, live well and be happy.